What's going on, everybody? James Lott here, aka JT, and this is another free tip Friday. Today's tip, I'm going to try to keep as short as possible. I'm a little sick, which is, I'll probably sound a little stuffy. I've been sick for about a week, but today's story is really a classic story of somebody trying to jump over dollars in order to get to cents. And this is something that typically happens in our industry, where we come across sellers specifically who want to save out on commissions by selling a property themselves because they think that it's going to save them money, which, hey, in some cases that is completely the case. It's possible that if you decide to sell a property yourself, you can save money. But I will say there are a lot of potential pitfalls that you run a risk of taking, and sometimes it might not be worth that cost. And also, it is statistically proven through the National Association of Realtors that sellers who sell their properties themselves end up selling it for less than if they were to list it with the realtor. But anyways, in this particular story, let's call the seller Sally, and this is a situation I actually experienced recently. Sally had a property for sale in the city of Fullerton, and when she put it on the market, she overpriced it. She didn't want to pay commissions, and she wanted to get as much money as possible, which I get. Every seller should want to get as much money as possible from the sale of their property. But she overpriced it. So after about a month, she dropped the price drastically. And once she did that, one of my clients was actually interested. So I went and showed the property to my client. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good fit for my client. But I get into talks with the seller, Sally, and just get more information from her, just kind of fill out her situation and see what I could do to help. And the reason why she was selling is because her and her family member were buying another property in the city just over, and she needed the proceeds from this sale, the sale of her property, in order to purchase this other one. However, she was in escrow on that other property already with her family member. I know, a little confusing, but basically she was selling her place to buy another place. That's what we call a contingent sale. The purchase of her property is contingent upon the sale of her current property. So unfortunately, it's not a good fit for my client. Her place isn't. And luckily, Sally was able to find another buyer. And after about a month, Sally calls me and she says, "Hey, James, unfortunately, we just backed out of escrow. Would you happen to have another buyer that's interested, or would your current client maybe negotiate with us in regards to price?" So I asked her, "Wow, it's been about a month. What happened?" And she said, "Well, the buyer that we were in escrow with actually couldn't get approved for the property." So I say, "Wow, okay, so it's been about a month. How long was your escrow supposed to be?" She said it was supposed to be 30 days. And today we're on day 28. So the buyer backed out after 28 days of being in contract, and then realized that they couldn't get approved. So I was kind of perplexed and a little confused, because typically when the right representation is there, a buyer will show that they're pre-approved and that they can purchase a property before they even open escrow, or at least within a week or two there should be a full loan approval. So how did this happen? She said, "Well, I trusted that the guy could get approved and this and that." Really, what happened was Sally didn't have proper representation to screen this particular buyer, and that buyer didn't have a good realtor or an honest realtor to let Sally know that that buyer was not a legit buyer. So I say, okay, well, dang, that's unfortunate. So what happened with the property you were in escrow with? Remember, she was already in escrow on a property that she was buying with her family member. So she tells me, "Oh, well, in order to get that, we actually have to scrounge up another $30,000 just so we can close on this property, and it's going to make my mortgage $1,500 more than what it should have been." And I say, wow, okay. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so the reason why Sally was trying to sell the property herself was to save out on commissions, which would have been around $8,000 total. But now she's out of pocket $30,000 plus another $1,500 for every month that she isn't able to sell her current place. And then she's also out time, stress, all that stuff, just because she didn't want to end up paying commissions at some point. And now she's in a situation where she's going to have to end up paying commissions Anyways, so she asked me my advice on what she should do. With the last time that I spoke to her, and this was a few weeks ago, and I said, hey, look, I know you want to save out on money for putting your from paying commissions. I know that's the biggest reason why you don't want to put it on the market. However, there are a few things. Your property is unique. This particular property couldn't be bought by just anybody. It was a really unique property, and it had to be marketed to the right audience. So I let her know that. I let her know that she needed to get professional pictures done. And typically a professional realtor will make sure that professional pictures get done, because the pictures that she had online were done by a cell phone. They were decent, but definitely not professional grade. And then also, obviously, my last suggestion was just that she needed to get it exposed. And through exposure, I meant putting it on the MLS, because that is what will allow her to get the property the most exposure in the least amount of time. And also, I let her know that she's going to have to be willing to pay a commission at some point, because unfortunately, a lot of realtors are going to shy away from showing that particular property just because they know that she's not going to be willing to pay them commission for bringing a buyer. So about a week goes by and I find out that she actually did put her property on the MLS, is paying a commission, and she listed it for less than what she initially was trying to get before. So now, not only was she out of pocket that $30,000 plus the $1,500 for her mortgage, plus time, plus effort, but now she's also paying a commission, and she's putting it on the market for less than what she was trying to get from it. So if she would have decided to put it on the market before going through any of this, she would have saved herself the $30,000, the $1,500, and all that other time, all that other stress that she has been going through. And unfortunately, the property still hasn't sold. So I say all this just to tell you guys, look, I get it. You want to save money. You think that all realtors are made the same, which they aren't. And that is our fault in the industry of not educating you guys the right way. But this is a classic case of somebody wanting to save money, but ends up paying a lot more money than what they initially should have. So look, if you are out there, you're thinking about selling your property yourself, at least consult with somebody that is going to lead you in the right direction, and be willing to at least put some money in to getting the property at least marketed properly and doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, a real estate transaction is a huge transaction, and it's probably the biggest asset, the biggest thing you will ever sell in your life. But understand that the agent commissions are a very small part of the entire big picture. So with all that being said, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, I would love to talk to you guys about this and debate over it. You guys out there, let me know what you all think about agent commissions, about whether or not you should be obligated to pay them, so on and so forth. Let me know. I'm here to help. I'll talk to y'all next week.